We're thinking about supporting vulnerable people during lockdown and beyond. My name's Dave Burke. I'm a mental health first aid instructor, and this is a summary of a seminar I gave on the subject recently. What do we mean by psychologically vulnerable? Well, that could be people who are diagnosed with an illness like anxiety or depression, and they may feel worse because of the stress of isolation or the apocalyptic atmosphere of news bulletins. But anyone with feelings may be a bit more anxious or depressed without actually becoming ill. Those folks need emotional support too. Then there are medics and carers who are face to face with the disease, and the elderly who are particularly vulnerable and might be more anxious than usual. And don't forget children, who might be under the mistaken impression that they're going to die if they get the virus just because they caught part of a news bulletin. So how can we support anyone who's struggling at the moment? I want to make 7 suggestions. The first is reach out. We've got to maintain physical distance, but we can shorten the emotional distance between ourselves and our friends by reaching out. Make a phone call or send a text or make a video call. Take the initiative to make a contact because contact really helps. The second is to talk and listen. Ask our friends how they're feeling and then just let them talk. Try not to interrupt too much. We find listening very therapeutic. So if you listen to someone for 10 minutes, you've already been incredibly helpful. The third thing is to encourage self-care. In our conversations, let's make sure that people have got the essentials, like medicines and food, and that we offer them help if they need it. Make sure too that they've got some luxuries and treats. A pandemic's a very bad time to be giving up chocolate or ice cream. Then there's routines. A daily routine and a weekly routine are really helpful for people in isolation. The fourth thing is to help people to put together a WRAP, a Wellness Recovery Action Plan. This is a proven resource for people with a diagnosed mental illness, but it's not a bad idea for the rest of us either. A WRAP is a wellness kit that you use in time of emergency. It's got all the bases covered. It tells you how to stay well, and the resources are there. It tells you what to do if you start feeling unwell and what resources I need when I'm getting into a crisis. It's all part of my WRAP. A fifth thing is to plan to support people during a mental health crisis. A friend may begin to self-harm because they're feeling so bad. Or individuals might get thoughts of suicide. Some might have more frequent panic attacks. There are people who might go into psychosis. That's when they may hallucinate or be delusional because of the stresses that they're under. In a crisis, the best place to begin is NHS 111, who'll assess the risk and if necessary they'll make an appointment for your friend to visit casualty. This can be a quick way to get professional help for someone who's struggling. If someone's really worrying you, then the initial response team is the way to go, sometimes called the crisis team. The number on the slide is for Sunderland and South Tyneside, so you'll need to find the right number for your area and keep it on your phone. Where people are feeling suicidal, the Samaritans is an excellent option. You could telephone 116 123 or email Joe, J-O, @samaritans.org. Here's the sixth thing. Sometimes our thinking is very distorted when we're under pressure. And we can help with that by listening empathetically and not ridiculing people's fears. But we can also help them to get a sense of proportion by asking some gentle questions like, what is your evidence that something so bad is going to happen to you? We can gently feed in some facts and information to help begin to counter the distorted thoughts. My last, number 7, is about spiritual life, which is very important for a lot of people, me included. I'm a practicing Christian. Spirituality is potentially very healing, and it's good to encourage people to focus on the positive things about their spiritual belief, things like grace and love and compassion and kindness and hope. Well, that's my 7 top tips for supporting friends, especially people who are psychologically vulnerable during this crisis and in particular on into the future when the stresses aren't going to go away. A friend of mine once said, if you give time to help people with poor mental health, you'll be supporting the most isolated and vulnerable people in your community. And I think that's true. My name's Dave Burke. I'm a mental health first aid instructor, and if you want to find out more, then go to daveburketraining.com. Thanks for listening.